Welcome to lecture 13, inheritance. So, in the last class we talked about super. Super can be used for the instances, that means the member data, also for the constructor and the member function. So, there are cases super is not required program. So, where it is not required, for example, you do not have a same function name, right. So, when you do not have a same function name, so obviously when I am calling, for example, person is a super class, right. Person is a super class, and here you go void message, right. Void message is printing system.out.println and welcome. So, now you have student 17 which is extending person. So, person is a super class and student 17 is a subclass, right. So, let us assume you have a display member function. So, here you have message, right. So, display member function which is calling message, display member function which is calling message, right. So, here you have student 17, person is the base class, I will just draw the diagram, and here you have student 17 is the subclass, person is the base class or super class, student 17 is a subclass. So, here you have a member function called display, right, student 17 you have member function called display. So, under this we are calling message, alright. So, now you have an object S, small s, whose class is student 17, the student 17, right, class, the object S which is invoking display. So, when it is invoking display, message will be invoked, right. So, message is in super class, so automatically it goes, right, it is the usual the inheritance. So, here you no need to use the super, right. So, that means it will automatically invoke this particular function, member function, and welcome will be printed. This is how exactly happening, right. When I run this code, you can find welcome is being displayed, right. So, this is how the super or this can be used. So, these two we had seen, maybe extensively we will see some examples of this pointer, okay. So, now super is understood, maybe since we had to see 4 different inheritance. So, during that course we will talk about that. So, now multi-level inheritance. So, in the last class we had seen single or simple inheritance. So, multi-level inheritance. So, assume that you have a parent class A, right, assume that you have parent class A. So, now class B is inheriting, class B is a subclass which is inheriting class A, right, which is inheriting class A, that means it is using all the property of class A, and class C is inheriting class B. When you have scenario like this, you call this as multi-level inheritance, right. So, this is an example of the multi-level inheritance. So, under this, so let us say we will take an example, right. So, you have class animal, right. So, class animal is the base class, right. So, under class animal you have one member function called eat, right. So, you have one member function called eat, only one member function and your class is over, right. So, next you have dog. So, dog is inheriting animal, right. So, dog is inheriting animal. So, dog, class dog, publicly inheriting animal. So, this has one member function called bark, alright, your class is over here, right, class dog is over here, end of the class dog. So, now you have another class baby dog which is publicly inheriting dog, right. So, here you have baby dog, right. So, here you have baby dog. So, baby dog is publicly inheriting dog, right. So, this is what happening, baby dog is publicly inheriting dog. So, here you have one member function. So, that member function is nothing but weep, you have one member function. So, that member function is called weep. So, you are seeing see out weeping, alright. So, that means it is displaying weeping, right. So, you have scenario like this, animal, dog and baby dog. So, baby dog is inheriting dog and dog is inheriting animal. So, when you have such scenario or the program like this, you call this is multi-level inheritance in C++. So, now assume that you are creating an object D1 under baby dog, okay. So, I am creating an object D1 under baby dog, right. So, the D1, right, which is invoking eat, right, where this eat function available, eat member function line number 5, right. So, that means eat is available in animal, yes. I mean it can D1 can inherit the property of dog, dog can inherit animal, right. So, in that process D1 can access animal because both are publicly inherited, right. So, D1 dot eat, alright. Under dog you have bark, right. So, bark is under dog. So, the bark member function is under dog, correct. So, now when it is invoking eat function, right. So, when D1 is invoking eat function, so this will be called, right, eating will be printed. So, this will be my first output statement, right. So, I can write, maybe I will use another ink. So, this will be my first output statement, and then if you look, D1 is invoking bark. So, bark which is available in the class dog, bark is available in class dog, right. So, void bark is barking. So, this will be printed next, right. So, this will be printed next, right. And then third one is D1 dot weep, alright. So, weep is being invoked. So, D1 is invoking weep. So, when it is invoking weep, weeping, the third output will be printed, correct. So, you can see 3 output. So, the first output is eating dot dot dot, alright. So, that will be printed, and the second output is bark, that will be printed, right. And then you can see the third output, this will be printed, alright. So, when I run the code, you can see as expected eating was our first output, alright. If you look at the green in color, so that will be displayed, right. And then we know that barking will be printed, the second one, and the third one is weeping will be printed. So, this is how the multi-level inheritance works, right. So, you have created an object under D1. So, now you can see that, right, under D1 we have created. So, now we can see that this D1 can access the dog class, and dog class can access animal. So, that means baby dog, right. When you are creating an object under baby dog and D1 you are trying to access, let us say bark, right, it can be accessed, right. D1 dot bark, not a problem, it is a parent class for baby dog, right. So, when it is trying to access D1 dot eat, right, it is looking for the dog class. So, dog class which is available. Now, dog can access the animal, right. So, therefore, your void eat, the line number 5 is being invoked, and when line number 5 is being invoked, the first output you are getting eating, right. So, D1 dot bark, D1 you are creating under baby dog, and baby dog is trying to access your parent class. The parent class you have dog, and dog you have a member function bark. So, bark is being printed, and the third one is weep, which is available in baby dog class itself, alright. So, which is being printed. So, this is how exactly the multi-level inheritance is working. I hope it is clear for everyone. We will see how this will work in Java, alright. So, we will consider an example. So, let us say class 1, alright. So, class 1 I will write C1, C1 is your base class, you mean to say it is your parent class. Under parent class you have one method, right, method 1 system.out.println base class method, alright, the base class method, and class 2 is extending class 1, I put C2, class 2 is extending class 1. So, here you have method 2 member function or method. So, that method is invoking, right, when it is being invoked, in fact it is defined inside class 2 method 2. You have one print statement, right. So, that print statement inside class 2 you have method 2, correct, and you have class 3. So, that means class 2 C1, right, C2 is extending C1, class 2 is extending C1, class 1 is super class and class 2 is subclass, and you have one more class, let us say class 3, you call it as C3. So, C3 you have one method, method is again you have method 2, okay. So, here you have method 2, slowly we are going to talk about the overriding, that means polymorphism. Next we are going to see. So, anyway, so which is not a problem. So, class 3 you have same method name. In fact, we use super class, right, super, the keyword super, right. So, you will not have any problem. So, let us see which one will be called and how it is being tackled. So, class 3 you have same name method 2, right. Class 3 you have same method 2. So, system.out.println inside class 3 method 2, inside class 3 method 2. So, now go to the main program, which is the driver class main function, main method. You are creating an object C under class 3. I am creating an object C under class 3. So, dynamically you are creating and then you are having constructor over here, correct. So, now this object C, right, this object C which is invoking method 1, right. So, this object is invoking method 1. So, when it is invoking method 1, right, so the method 1 which is available in class 1, right, which is not a problem. So, method 1 will be accessed, right, invoked, and you have print statement system.out.print and base class method. So, base class method will be printed. So, this one will be printed, which is not very difficult, right, it is printing. Now, when it is invoking method 2, so now the question comes, which function will be invoked, which method will be invoked, right. So, we are coming to the interesting situation. Sooner or later we are going to call this as overriding, right. We are going to call this as overriding. So, your object C is under class 3, your object C is under class 3. So, C is invoking method 2. So, first it will go overriding, right, it is overriding class 2 and printing class 3, right, it is overriding class 2. So, it will not go over here, that means this method 2 will not be called. What I mean to say, this method 2 will not be called. So, you are creating an object C under class 3, alright. So, overriding class 2 and then it is trying to invoke this method, alright. So, it is trying to invoke this method. When it is trying to invoke this method, you can see over here inside class 3 method 2 will be printed, right. So, this will be printed. So, this we are going to call as overriding when we are going to talk about polymorphism, right. So, if you look at in the last lecture we introduced super. So, under this super keyword we have two methods, message, if you recall, right, the last class we had seen message, right. So, we use super keyword to go to the super class, right. So, now what will happen if I do not use super keyword, correct. So, which one will be overridden? For example, this is a situation. So, in this situation what is happening? You are trying to call the method 2, right. So, you are trying to call method 2 and method 2 is available in both class 2 and class 3. So, in such situation, so what I have to do, right. So, which function should be called? So, this we have to be careful, right. So, the concept is overriding. So, here the class 2 method 2 will be overridden and it is invoking method 2 of class 3, right. So, this is going to be called overriding, method overriding in Java. The same if you use in C++, you call this as a function overriding, okay. So, it is overriding class 2 and it is going or invoking class 3's method 2 and then it is printing, right, inside class 3 comma method 2. So, this is being printed. So, the concept is called overriding. In fact, so this is an example of the multi-level inheritance in Java. So, you have a base class or super class C1, you have subclass C2. So, that means C2 is inheriting the properties of C1 and similarly C3 is inheriting the properties of C2, and when you are creating an object C under C3, one class C1 you have called, I mean it is not a problem, right. See, when you are invoking method 1 will be invoked, base class method will be printed. So, that we had seen, alright. So, now the tricky point is when C is invoking method 2, we have to be little careful which one will be called, alright. So, this is the concept of overriding. In fact, we are going to see many example, and in fact overloading concept we had seen, right, basic points in the polymorphism we had seen, right, when the compiler knows during compile time you call it as overloading, and here during runtime which method will be chosen, alright. So, this will be decided during the runtime. So, therefore, your method 2 is there which will be overridden, and then it is invoking class 3's method 2, and then inside class 3 method 2 will be printed. So, this is how exactly the multi-level inheritance is working. So, we had seen one example in C++, another example in Java. So, now based on this multi-level, alright, let us say ABC, we stick to ABC. So, you can go whatever level you want. So, let us consider this case study, right. So, let us consider this case study. In a university, various members belong to the institution, right. So, overall will be in the institution, students will be their teachers. So, we consider university, class university. So, under class university we have students and teachers, right. So, we have students and teachers, right. So, let us consider the university keeps track record of basic information like the name, age, ID for every member, alright. So, name, age, ID for every member. For students, additional information such as department, GPA, right, grade point average is maintained. While for teachers, the department and subject they teach are tracked, right. So, which department they belong and what are all the subjects they are teaching, right. So, to manage this efficiently, let us try to implement a multi-level inheritance. So, we can see the example of a multi-level inheritance system using C++. So, the base class is person will store the basic information about the students and the teachers, right. So, that is the class person, and you have a class student, right, you have a student class. So, student class will inherit from person, right. So, this will inherit person and add specific related information. We will see what are all the information we can add for the students, right. And you have another class graduate student. So, this class will inherit from student. So, person is a base class, student is a subclass, and you have a graduate student, right. So, it is like a grandchild. So, that means parent of graduate student is student, right. Parent of graduate student is student. So, this graduate student class will inherit from student, right, and handle additional details related to graduate level students, right. So, this is how we are going to write a program in C++. So, person is the base class, student is a subclass, and you have the graduate student. So, let us see how this is working. So, you have a base class called person, right. So, assume that you have the base class called person, right. So, here you have base class. So, I have a protected member data, alright. So, we had seen already what is meant by protected member data. So, you have string name, I have included string, integer age and integer ID. So, you have member data like this. So, protected. So, in the derived class it will become private, right. So, that is what we had already seen, and you have public. So, under public you have a constructor, right, the 3 member constructor, right, parameterized constructor. You have person name which is a string, and you have person age which is integer, and you have person ID, right. So, now you are copying person name will be copied into name, person age will be copied into age, and person ID will be copied into ID, alright. I hope it is clear for you, alright. Person age, person name, person age, person ID. So, we are copying into name, age and ID. So, now you have one display method, right. So, display person info. So, display person info. So, I put it in name, age and ID, right. So, that I am trying to print over here in line number 19, 20 and 21, name, age and ID, right. So, now you have class student which is publicly inheriting person, right. So, your person is the base class, I use this, person is the base class. Now I have the derived class. Derived class is student, right, which is publicly inheriting person, right. So, here you have the protected member data. So, these protected member data can be accessed by student class, right, student class. So, student class again a protected member data, string department, float, GPA, right. So, this is what exactly we had seen the problem, right. So, additionally you should have the department and GPA for students, correct. So, string department, float, GPA. So, now here you have the constructor student. So, constructor student, it is right 5 parameters you have, student name, right, the argument string, that means your data type is string, student age integer, student ID integer, right, student ID integer. So, you have department whose data type is string and the student GPA float, right. So, now you have a constructor, right, student is a constructor over here. So, what I will do over here, right, so here you have the person, right, person is the base class, correct. So, under the base class I have student name, student age, student ID, right. So, that means I am calling the base class constructor person. So, you have student name, student age and student ID, and department you are copying into department and student GPA you are copying into GPA, alright. So, when I am having this student name, student age and student ID, right. So, that will be nothing but your name, age and ID, correct, because it is called, I mean it is calling your person constructor, okay. So, now you have one more member function, display student info. So, under display student info I have, because when it is calling this, these 3 will be printed, right, line number 20, 35, right. So, when it is calling, when you are passing student name, student age and student ID, and then when you are calling this person constructor, so the name, age and ID will be displayed. So, additionally you require department and GPA, right. So, that will be printed, and you have the next class graduate student, which is publicly inheriting student, right. So, here you have graduate student. So, the graduate student is publicly inheriting student, the graduate student is publicly inheriting student, right. So, here you go string research topic. So, that is one more, right, we are adding because a graduate student with a research topic. So, now you have graduate student constructor. So, here you have 6, right, 6 parameters, grad name, grad age, grad ID, department, grad GPA and topic, correct. So, now when I call this student constructor, right. So, student constructor you require, right, student constructor. So, here you go student constructor, you have how many, student name, student age, student ID, department and student GPA, 5 parameters. So, 5 parameters, right. So, you are passing grad name, graduate student age, grad ID, department and grad GPA you are passing, right, and then the research topic, comma research topic, that means topic is assigned to research topic, right. In the previous class your department is assigned to department and student GPA is assigned to GPA, right. So, now you have one display research topic additionally, alright. So, you have grad name, grad age, grad ID, department, GPA, everything will be there. So, topic, when you have the research topic, right. So, topic is copied into research topic. So, that will be printed in this case in display graduate student info, right. So, basically you are going to display. So, when you have the base class you have 3 parameter, right, base class you have 3 parameter constructor, right, and then when you have student you have additionally department and GPA 5 parameters, and then one more, the 6th parameter will be added in the next class. So, all are being inherited, right. So, graduate student is inheriting student, student is inheriting person, right. So, this is the base class and this is the children class, derived class, of base, and this is the derived class of student, okay. So, multi-level inheritance. So, now we will go to the main program. So, main, you are having grad student object, right, you have a grad student object under graduate student class, the last one, right. You are passing, see how many parameters, Ravindra, the name, age 35, ID 8, right, the branch computer science, CGPA 8.3, GPA 8.3, and the topic artificial intelligence, right. So, you are passing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parameters. First initially 3, then 2 is being added, and finally for the graduate student 1 is also being added. So, when you are passing this, right. So, here you go, your graduate student constructor will be called, right, you are passing all these, and then this will call the student constructor, right. So, the first 5 parameters, graduate name, graduate age, graduate ID, department, graduate GPA will be passed for student, alright. So, when it is calling the student constructor, so here you have these 5, it will call the person constructor. Person constructor you are passing 3 parameters, right, name, age and ID, alright. So, that will be copied. So, that means these 3 will be initially displayed, right. So, then these 2 will be displayed, then finally your research topic information will be displayed. So, I will get 6 output. So, 6 output will be nothing but Ravindra, age 35, ID 8, right. You have a computer science department, CGPA is 8.3, research topic is artificial intelligence, alright. So, first 3 is the base class, next to computer science and 8.3 is the derived class student, and the last one is under graduate student constructor. So, when you are displaying this, that means the grad student object, when it is invoking display graduate student info, right. So, that means the display graduate student info will be called, correct. So, this will call display student info method. So, the display student info method is available over here, that will be called display person info. So, the display person info is available here, first name will be printed, age will be printed, then ID will be printed, right. So, then your department and GPA will be printed from here, and then finally research topic will be printed, right. So, you will get the output like this. So, when you run the code, you should get the output like this. So, name is Ravindra, age is 35, ID is 8, department is computer science, and GPA 8.3, and research topic is artificial intelligence, alright. So, this is all about your multi-level inheritance. So, single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance we had seen. So, in the next class, so we will see further inheritance topic. With this, I am concluding this lecture. Thank you very much.